And now the story of a 27-year-old who discovered the trick to get rich off penny stocks called death spiral financing. He became so rich that he produced a boxing movie with Martin Scorsese. And now the SEC has sued him for elaborate micro-cap stock fraud. It's Arrested Development. Penny stock stupidity. Dun, 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 dun. That's not the song. And I don't sound like Ron Howard. But either way, let's go over this story of this guy who made all this money and thought he was so smart, but was in fact a fraud. Which is normally how it goes with things like penny stocks and scams like that. So let's break it down, talk about it, and make sure none of us do that same stupid thing or get scammed by someone like this guy. And this guy's name is Joshua Sasson, or Sasson, I don't know. And there he is. Oh man. Okay, on the count of 3, let's say the first thing that comes to our mind. 1, 2, 3, douche. Did you say that? Is that what you said? That's what I said. And oh man, I'm already sorry. You know what? You should not judge someone by how they look, like this guy. I don't like judging people by their looks, even when they have full sleeve tats. It's not my job to judge, but just wear sleeves maybe. They're a lot warmer. So you know what happened now, right? This guy got sued by the SEC, which probably means either he's gonna pay huge fines or go to jail, but either way, his business is over. But let's see how he was at the top. And these articles are written by the Zeke Fox guy, or Fow. I can't pronounce any names. But how he kept a straight face writing these articles, I don't know. You're gonna see what I'm talking about. So it starts off with 2,000 people cheered on Joshua as he walked up to a boxing ring in an arena in Providence late last year. He trailed the actor Miles Teller, which is this guy. I don't know if you guys saw this movie. I didn't watch it. There's something about this guy that I don't like. I'm sure he's a nice guy, but I don't know. I don't like him. That's why I never saw the movie. But anyway, the reason he was walking with Miles Teller is because he got a cameo in that Scorsese movie. And he got that cameo because he was producing the movie. And he was only 27 years old. A genius. That's what that means. And after that December shoot, Sasson took a Christmas vacation in Malaysia with his lingerie model girlfriend, Rachel Marie Thomas. You know, when I read this, I wonder why it was necessary to put her name in there. And I have a feeling that Joshua not only asked for her name to be in there, but for them to include her Instagram handle, which obviously they're not gonna do. But let's make Joshua happy, right? He's going through some stuff. Let's check out her Instagram. Rachel Marie Tom, come on. 38,000 followers, that's it? This is amateur hour. My friend's dog has way more followers. Back to Joshua, he checked on the renovation of his Tribeca penthouse, and he hit a recording studio in London to help mix an album by an Israeli actress and singer he signed for his company, Magna, which he describes as a global investment firm. A real mogul. 6 years ago, Josh was just living at his parents' house on Long Island, doing clerical work for a debt collection law firm and dreaming of becoming a pop star. Because who doesn't dream about that every day? Me personally, it's R&B star, but you know, whatever. Then a family friend showed him a trick that seems to have earned him millions in the stock market. He won't say exactly what he does or how much he's made, but regulatory filings by dozens of companies show that Magna has invested more than $200 million since 2012. It is a good sign when someone won't tell you exactly what they do. That's how you know you can trust it. Sasson, who has full sleeves of tattoos he covers with tailored 3-piece suits, calls himself a self-taught value investor. Oh god, how many value investors just died when they heard that? Giving the industry a bad name. He has about 30 employees in trading, venture capital, music, and film. Wow. I'm not going to give away the details of how we do what we do, obviously. Why would you do that, right? We create businesses and we invest. Sure you do. Okay, but now we get into what this debt spiral financing is and how he made all his millions. So what he does is he gets shares in desperate and broke companies at big discounts by lending them money. So basically, this whole thing is predatory lending, but it goes further than that, as you'll see. Magna has done deals with at least 80 companies. Of those, the stocks of 71 have gone down since the investment. He can still turn a profit because the terms of the deal allow him to turn debt into equity at a fixed discount. No matter where the stock is trading, he gets it for less. So let me explain what he's basically doing. He goes to these companies that are in trouble, and they're all penny stock companies, so they're not like too legit as it is. This article has a good description actually of penny stocks. Penny stocks exist so that, say, an oiled wildcatter with a hunch he's about to drill a gusher can raise the money he needs without the hassle of listing on an exchange. They feed a desire for a hot tip that could double or triple. It's like wayward financing, like going around the system. It's a disreputable corner of the market. Many listings are bogus. Most are, at at best just a guy with an idea, and often that idea is to raise some money so he can pay himself a fat salary. Other listings are real businesses that have been dropped from the big exchanges because they're on the verge of failing. So in the penny stock space, it's the worst of the worst, if you didn't know that already. So as soon as someone is telling you about penny stocks, you gotta be careful. Most of the time it's a scam, all these trading systems too. Now I'm not saying there isn't ways to make money in penny stocks, because there definitely are, but as soon as you dip into a pool like that, there's just a lot of sharks that are gonna try and take your money. And this is stuff that we test too. Like my buddy Tyler from Macro Ops, he's running a penny stock system right now, just testing it out. I mean, we play around with it, but from what I've heard, it's been doing pretty well. So I mean, we'll see what happens. We don't disregard anything, but when it comes to stuff like this, you do have to be careful. And whenever people tell us about, oh, the returns they're getting, it's like, okay, really? Let's see. But anyway, what was I saying? So he would go to these penny stock companies that are in trouble, and these guys need money for their business or whatever they're doing. So he would offer to loan them that money in exchange for shares, and the shares he could basically get at a half price of whatever they're trading at. So what he would do is get those shares at half price and then sell them at the full price, and he makes that difference. So here's a good graphic that explains it. So Penny Corp trading at 5 cents a share needs cash. A lender, Deathco or Joshua, gives it a $100,000 loan, convertible to stock at a 50% discount. So there are restrictions in place, like Deathco has to wait 6 months to convert their shares. And by that point, the shares have dropped to 3 cents because they started at 5 cents here. But even at 3 cents, even though they dropped, it doesn't matter for Joshua because he has the deal in place to convert that stock at a 50% discount. So he can convert it at 1.5 cents a share. And he basically converts 50,000 over because he thinks he can move that and sell it right away. So he converts at 1.5 cents and sells at 3 cents. And by the time Deathco and Joshua, they dump all these shares onto the market, obviously the price of the shares move even lower. And they move lower and lower, but it doesn't matter for Deathco because they always get it at 50% less. So here at 1 cent, he could convert another 30,000 and just flip it at 1 cent. It's a 50% gain every time. So here's an example. They did it with this Greek shipping company, New Lead Holdings. So his company was called Magna, right? So after they did the deal with Magna, which is Josh's company, New Lead's holding stock dropped so far that if you bought 3 million shares in March of 2013, just before Magna invested, you would have been left with holdings worth just 10 cents 2 years later. Your $3 million would have turned into 10 cents because of what Josh did. Magna functions as a pawn shop for penny stocks, shares of obscure ventures that change hands far from the rules of the New York Stock Exchange. His customers have included would-be Chilean copper miners, an inventor of thought control phones, of course, and then at least 2 executives that have been busted for fraud because, you know, when you're dealing with people in these markets, you are dealing in the gutter. So again, of course there's some CEOs caught for fraud. They come to Sassone to trade a lot of their stock for a little bit of money, and often they're aware that the deal is likely to be bad for their shareholders. So if you're thinking, how is this even legal? Well, technically it is legal, but the loopholes that you're going through to make it legal are the types of things that banks and hedge funds normally won't do. At least 6 other lenders of last resort to penny stock companies, just like Joshua, have been sued by the SEC for breaking the rules around dumping shares or other violations. Because like we saw in that example, there was a 6-month hold period for those shares before they could unload them once they converted them. But how many of these guys do you think are actually following that rule? One of these guys was actually arrested by the FBI, and this article, which was written in 2015, said it's worked out better for Sassone, who hasn't had any issues with authorities. Foreshadowing? Mr. Zeke, is that what you were doing? So this whole strategy of the predatory lending and then getting the shares, converting them and flipping them real quick, that's called the debt spiral financing. So the way he actually got caught by the SEC though is because he claimed to be buying existing debts and selling them for stock. But for one of the companies, according to the SEC, the debts were fake. They were made up to justify issuing the shares. So it was a scam. I mean, I don't know if the company guys were in on it, probably. But the point was to defraud the investors because they turn out to be the losers. Because of course they're going to be caught off guard when the market is flooded with new shares that drove down the price. So it's just another form of a pump and dump scam, which is exactly what a lot of penny stock promoters do. What they'll do is send out a newsletter or something to their followers and say, oh, this penny stock is so hot. And they'll already have a ton of shares of that penny stock. So all these guys start trying to buy it and they unload their shares. So they're pumping it up because they're talking about how great it is, getting people excited. And then as they buy, they start dumping shares on them. So it works out for the guy running the scam, but for everyone else, else, it sucks. And the reason that works for the scammer is because the penny stock market is so small for these companies. The market cap is tiny, right? So they can move that entire market with the money that they have. You can never do the same thing with Apple. You would need tons and tons of money to manipulate a stock with that big of a market cap. So the moral of the story is be careful when you go into these places like penny stocks. If it sounds too good to be true, then it probably is. And it's probably a scam. Now let's just go over some other stupid stuff that this Joshua guy did. So when he was a kid, he actually did get signed to a music label. It was a music label by Trevor Pryce, a 260-pound defensive end for the Denver Broncos. For some reason, he had a music label. But sadly, it didn't work out for young Joshua. It was a big letdown. There was a lot of anticipation that they were going to be the next big thing, but it did not happen. Tough out here for boy bands. I assumed it was a boy band, right? Backstreet Boys 2. He's obviously the Nick Lachey of the group. Oh yeah. Actually, he looks more like a Joey Fatone. And if you notice, none of those names were actually from the Backstreet Boys because, you know, I start to forget my 90s boy band trivia after a while. I just don't want it that way. Now, the reason I think the writer Zeke was having fun with this article is because he would just put random stuff in like this. This doesn't really have to do with anything, but it's just funny to add. In an entrepreneurship class where he was the member of the class of 2009, Sayson came up with the plan to import sand from Israel and sell it as a collectible called Sand from the Holy Land. As you can see, this guy has always been extremely entrepreneurial and extremely sharp. But do you want to know how it all started for him? Just like it started for a lot of us, through a book that he read. But it's not just any book. It was The Intelligent Investor, the 1949 book by Benjamin Graham that Warren Buffett cites as his inspiration. And every single value investor obviously cites the same book. It was pretty much a life-changing moment for me. I read it once. The second time I read it, I went through and I highlighted it. Then those highlights, they became a guideline for me to write my own interpretation. Yes, I have never seen someone interpret The Intelligent Investor as a penny stock scam. This is the first. So bravo, Josh. Only someone who has as much vision as you do could possibly do something like this. And the moral of the story is, did I already say the moral of the story? Just don't be stupid. That's a good moral. But anyway, if you like this video and you want to see other videos of stupid people in finance doing stupid stuff that we can kind of learn from, then make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit that bell so you get a notification when that next video is released. In the meantime, enjoy all my other videos that we publish every day. It's all markets and business related. It's awesome. Just come hang out with us, have a laugh, leave happy, be proud that you are not Joshua Sassone. Be proud you didn't get sleeves full of tattoos. Though this might look good in prison, I don't know. But I think tattoos are free in prison, right? You get a lot of other services for free too, whether you want them or not. But okay, subscribe and I will see you in the next video. Stay fallible out there. Bye.